Hey guys, Shadow here. This is going to be a little bit different. Um, I've queued up a video here which is some weirdo reading something and it's, you really want to watch this. Are you sure what the gospel is? Wash and know and then believe it. Ooh. But why did I queue this up and why am I sitting there making this video? Honestly, not for any of the reasons you might think. You see, yesterday I ended up in an off-air hangout. And in that hangout, I did something that I do fairly frequently, which is pop culture references. Silence of the Lambs comes up more often than not. Make jokes about putting the lotion in the basket and getting the hose again, these kind of things. But I also periodically do my little Hannibal Lecter thing. And after I did that in the off air, somebody said, "You know what? You should do a video done with your Hannibal Lecter voice." So I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm going to be doing it well, messing with this shit. Now, why this? Well, honestly, most of the reasons is because when I first woke up today, a link to this was posted in the Moderate C Word group that I'm a part of, and I thought, you know what? Let's just pick this somewhat at random and mess with it a little bit. But I'll get to the Hannibal Lecter thing in a moment. But first, let's just cue up some of the video here.
And it says, I marvel that ye are so soon removed
Oh, all the way to the beginning. Sorry. There
from
we
the
go.
world of YouTube. This is my channel. This is my first video. I'm a soldier for Christ, and I believe we are at war. I believe we are at the end days, and I would like to share with you the gospel. If you've never heard it, please.
Yeah, in other words, yes, he believes goofy things. Yay, fun to pick on. So he wants to share the gospel with us because he believes in the end days. So, okay, let's see where he starts.
Listen. If you don't listen, that's on you.
Oh
That's not
no.
on me. I pray that you would receive this word with joy. I'm going to start with Galatians chapter 1, verse 6 through 12.
Okay, I'd like to point something out here that he's going to read to us the gospel, and then instead of going to one of the gospels, he goes immediately to one of Paul's letters, which are the letters, strictly speaking, they're not actually, gospel in the standard sense. The four gospels would be Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, not some fucking letter written to a church to the Galatians. But since he's going to be reading Galatians 1, 6 through 12, let's do that. Now, the one thing I did discover in this off air is if I want to try to get into that Hannibal Lecter kind of mindset, I have to do that infamous line, which there's been debate as whether it actually existed in the movie or not, which was, "Hello, Clarice." And I've discovered that if I don't preface with that, then I can't really get in the proper mindset. So let me get my glasses on and we will see if I can actually get a read of this, if I can figure out where I put my glasses. Damn it, I should have been prepped to do this video, shouldn't I? Oh well. So excuse me while I read this entire thing as if it's Hannibal saying it to Clarice, because that's just the way my brain works with her. So let's get started. Galatians 1, 6 through 12. Hello, Clarice. I'm astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you to live in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel, which is really no gospel at all. Evidently, some people are throwing you into confusion and are trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let them be under God's curse. As we have already said, so now I say again, if anyone is preaching to you a gospel other than what you accepted, let them be under God's curse. Clarice, I am now trying to win the approval of human beings or God. Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel I preached is not of human origin. I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it. Rather, I received it by revelation from Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm not quite doing the Anthony Hopkins thing here. It's hard to actually get into the character of Hannibal while trying to read this crap, so hang on. I might need an audience. Hon? Where'd my wife wander off to? Damn it. Let's hunt down the wifeykins. Hey, hun, can I borrow you for a second? I need a silent audience. Yay. Doing like multiple takes. I'm trying to get the feel on this. Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Now, I'm trying to read a segment from one of the letters. And it's funny because this guy starts off his whole video wanting to preach the gospel with a letter to Paul, which you know what that means, right? He's one of those. But I've decided, based upon last night's thing, that I'm going to try and Hannibal Lecter it. And I'm going to ask you just to sit next to me so I can make sure your skin's crawling, because that's how I know I've got it right. Hello, Clarice. I'm astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you to live in the grace of Christ, and are turning to a different gospel, which is really no gospel at all. Evidently, some people are throwing you into confusion, are trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let them be under God's curse. As we have already said, so now I say again, if anyone is preaching to you a gospel other than what you have accepted, let them be under God's curse. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel I preached is not of human origin. I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it. Rather, I received it as revelation from Jesus Christ. Skin crawl? Not quite?
Definitely creepy.
Should I try it again?
Are you recording?
Yeah. Well, I did about 6 takes, and none of them really felt right, so it looks like I'm probably not going to do a Hannibal reads the Bible gag other than this one. But the wife and I did have a little bit of fun with it, so after, I believe this was a 6th take, my wife decided to do her own version of it, doing the evil stepmother voice thing. So let's let her have her little moment here. And then I'll get back to the Bible thumping weirdo. Let me restart the recording. I don't think that was necessarily my best either.
I am astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you to live in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel, which is really no gospel at all. Evidently, some people are throwing you into confusion and are trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel of heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let them be under God's curse, as we have already said. So now I say again, if anyone is preaching to you a gospel other than what you accepted, let them be under God's curse. I am now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God, or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel I preached is not of human origin. I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it. Rather, I received it by a revelation from Jesus Christ.
Trying to do this as Hannibal, it's damn near fucking impossible. I tried though, but it was fun. I did about 6, 7 takes. Yeah, well, yeah, evil stepmother. You are the evil stepmother, so you're fine with that. Why am I still recording? Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to deal with this dipshit.
And it says, I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel, which is not another. But there be some that trouble you, and would pervert the gospel of Christ. But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed.
Wow, this guy sucks, dude.
As we said before, say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed.
Actually, if you go to the Koine Greek and go through this part, it's not even necessarily saying what he thinks it is. Most of the translations do probably agree with what he's trying to say, but if you go to the Koine Greek, one potential read of this is that if anyone preaches a gospel unto you other than that which ye hath accepted, let them be an anathema, which is basically saying that the gospel should be speaking to everyone individually, somewhat differently based upon what they accept and how they see Christ. But anyway.
Or do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ. But I certify to you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ. So Paul is saying here, he didn't get the gospel from himself, he got it from Jesus. So let's see what gospel Jesus preached.
Now, I should note a couple things. The first of all being that if this guy knew anything about the actual book itself, he'd know that the Gospels were written after the Pauline letters. He would also know things along the lines that Paul never actually met Jesus other than in a vision on the road to Damascus. So him claiming to have gotten it from Jesus is claiming to have derived it spiritually, which would tie more into Gnosticism, which Paul spoke out against. This is one of the many issues, but I'm going to spend a small amount of time dealing with this guy, and then I'm out of here because he's frankly not worth my time. So what's he going to go to next?
So let's go over to John chapter 3, verse 16 through 18.
So God so loved the world that he, so God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and only through him can we be healed, or something like that. I don't remember. It's been a while. Well, he's actually looking at the book. I'm sure he'll do better.
And Jesus says, for God sent not his Son in, John 3:16 through 18. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Okay, yeah, that read's gonna bug me. Hang on. Oops, John 3, fucking generic. The one verse that pretty much every Christian knows, however, that one line is just one line of the gospel. There's a lot more to it, but okay, whatever. Let's have fun with Priestley voice now. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish and shall have eternal life.
Then let's flip over to John 11, 14 through 27.
At least it's gospel this time.
I'm not taking a lot of time for commentary, and I'm sorry about any errors.
Wait a minute, this is an hour and 17. What, does he read the majority of the fucking gospel?
Good at the whole editing thing, and I'm feeling the times we are living in, the day and the hour of Christ's return is at hand. It could be any minute, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. I don't know when, but I have
Hey, you've only been saying this for 2,000 fucking years, dude.
a burning in my soul that tells me his return is soon. So I gotta get through this.
Yeah, good luck with that. Do it on somebody else's time, not mine.